Long before modern pharmacies and supplement shelves, ancient Egyptian households relied on plants, oils, resins, seeds, honey, garlic, and herbs. These were simple preparations passed down through thousands of years. Most modern homes forgot them in just a few generations. Tonight, we are walking through 20 of those lost remedies, from humble pantry staples and kitchen seeds to sacred aromatics and symbolic flowers. Stay until the end. One was so valued it appeared in tombs, temples, kitchens, and along ancient trade routes. Let us begin where every ancient household began, with what they kept sealed in their jars. If you want to go deeper, the link in the description gives you access to the TerraVault guide, where you can learn 200 forgotten ancestral remedies, foods, and plant traditions from ancient cultures. Number 1. Honey stands as the quiet anchor of the ancient Egyptian household. More than a sweetener, honey was woven into the logic of daily survival, sealed in clay jars, spread on bread, drizzled into cakes, and offered at family altars. Its thick golden texture preserved food from spoilage and kept moisture at bay, making it a practical storehouse staple in a world without refrigeration. Honey's role extended beyond taste. It was used to seal containers, coat dried fruits, and protect grain. Blending sweetness with preservation. As refined sugar and commercial spreads arrived in modern kitchens, the old knowledge of honey's many uses faded. Yet for thousands of years, this single ingredient was trusted to keep food safe, offerings pure, and households prepared for lean seasons. In second place, garlic stands as the bold allium of everyday ancient Egyptian cooking. Its pungent aroma and sharp flavor were woven into the daily rhythm of household meals, offering a savory backbone to stews, breads, and broths. Far from being reserved for temples or rituals, garlic was a kitchen constant, pressed, chopped, or crushed fresh by hand. Ancient texts describe its place in meals meant to sustain workers and families, valued not only for taste, but for its ability to keep food lively in a hot climate. Over time, the whole garlic clove faded from modern kitchens, replaced by powders and convenience jars. Yet for centuries, the simple act of peeling and preparing garlic by hand was a daily ritual, one that anchored the Egyptian table in the honest flavors of the land. Number 3. Onion stands as the quiet backbone of the ancient Egyptian kitchen. The humble bulb was prized not just for its sharp bite, but for its ability to wait patiently in the pantry, ready to add body and depth to soups, stews, and the simplest daily meals. Onions stored well through the seasons, offering families a reliable ingredient long after harvest. In a world without refrigeration, this mattered. Ancient households relied on onions to stretch modest ingredients and to flavor the staples that filled the table. Over time, the ritual of peeling and chopping fresh onion faded, replaced by powders and convenience mixes. Yet for centuries, the whole bulb represented a kind of food wisdom, one that valued what could be kept on hand, used simply, and trusted to nourish. If this kind of forgotten knowledge interests you, remember that the TerraVault guide is linked in the description. Inside, you will find 200 ancestral remedies, foods, and plant traditions from biblical, Egyptian, Ayurvedic, Chinese, and Appalachian traditions. Number 4. Black cumin seed slips quietly into the ancient Egyptian pantry, a tiny aromatic that once carried surprising weight. In the kitchens along the Nile, these small, ridged seeds lent their sharp, earthy scent to breads, stews, and simple household blends. Ancient texts record black cumin as both seasoning and household remedy, valued not just for flavor, but for its place in daily life. Over time, as modern spice aisles narrowed and familiar labels replaced old names, this seed faded from memory. Its presence in ancient recipes marks a subtle shift, from the obvious staples to the overlooked details that once defined a household's wisdom. Black cumin's story reminds us that forgotten knowledge often hides in the smallest ingredients, waiting to be rediscovered. Number 5. The castor oil plant marks a turning point in the ancient Egyptian household, a shift from the simple gathering of foods to the art of extraction and storage. Unlike familiar kitchen staples, castor seeds were pressed for their oil, a process rooted in patience and resourcefulness. This oil, thick and slightly pungent, was kept in clay jars, ready for use in lamps, ointments, and the daily rituals of skincare and cleansing. The act of pressing and saving oil reflected a practical economy, where nothing was wasted and every part of a plant could serve a purpose. As industrial oils and packaged products took over, the quiet skill of household oil pressing faded from memory. Yet for centuries, the castor oil plant stood as a symbol of what could be drawn from the land and kept for times of need. Number 6. Aloe stands as the green sentinel of the ancient Egyptian household, a living plant, not just a stored ingredient. In the dry climate along the Nile, aloe was kept close to the home, thriving in pots or small garden plots where its thick, cool leaves could be harvested as needed. Ancient families valued aloe for daily care, applying its gel to soothe sun-parched skin, minor burns, and irritations after long days in the sun. The Ebers Papyrus records several uses for aloe, reflecting a practical knowledge passed from hand to hand, not just written on papyrus. Unlike pantry staples stored for months, aloe required tending and a watchful eye, connecting families to the rhythms of growth and healing. Over time, as plant knowledge shifted from practical care to mere decoration, aloe's place in daily life faded. Yet for centuries, it was a trusted companion in homes shaped by the desert's demands. Number 7. Frankincense enters the Egyptian home as a scent that once traveled hundreds of miles before settling in a quiet corner of the house. This aromatic resin, gathered from distant trees beyond the Red Sea, was prized not only for its rich fragrance, but for the atmosphere it created, smoke curling through doorways, filling rooms with a sense of sanctuary. Frankincense was burned as incense during household rituals, offered at family altars, and blended into mixtures for cleansing the air. Its presence marked a certain household wealth, a sign that the rhythms of trade had touched even the most ordinary spaces. Over centuries, the ritual of burning resin faded, replaced by manufactured scents and quick sprays from a can. Yet for generations, frankincense shaped the mood of a home, its scented smoke weaving together memory, ritual, and the daily act of making a space feel sacred. Number 8. Myrrh enters the story as the bitter twin to frankincense, yet with a darker, more solemn presence in the ancient Egyptian home. Myrrh's resin, gathered in small, knotted tears, was valued for its deep, earthy scent, strong enough to linger in the air and in memory. In daily life, myrrh found its way into aromatic mixtures, used to scent linens, preserve sacred objects, and mark spaces set aside for remembrance. Ancient texts and burial jars record myrrh blended with oils and honey, applied with care to materials meant to endure. Its role in preservation, both of the living and the dead, underscored how seriously Egyptians treated the link between fragrance and remembrance. Over generations, as myrrh narrowed into a rare perfume or incense, its place in household routines faded. Yet for centuries, This resin was trusted to hold on to what mattered, binding scent, ritual, and remembrance into a single, lingering presence. Number 9. Fenugreek brings us back to the ancient Egyptian kitchen table, a place where seeds were woven into the fabric of daily meals, not reserved for rare occasions. Fenugreek was found wherever bread dough was mixed, grains were milled, or stews simmered over clay hearths. Its distinct, maple-like scent drifted through kitchens, lending warmth to flatbreads and thickening humble porridges. In the hands of household cooks, fenugreek was neither exotic nor mysterious, but a practical staple, sprinkled into flour, added to spice blends, or steeped into simple infusions. Over generations, as home pantries narrowed their range to just a few familiar spices, the everyday use of seeds like fenugreek faded from memory. Yet for centuries, it served as a quiet bridge between food, flavor, and the rhythms of ordinary domestic life. Number 10. Coriander stands as the quiet bridge between the ancient Egyptian garden and the kitchen table. Both leaf and seed were gathered by hand, valued for their gentle flavor and their place in daily meals. In households along the Nile, coriander was more than a garnish. It was a whole plant pantry staple, with fresh greens added to broths and seeds stored in clay jars for seasoning bread or soothing the stomach. Ancient texts mention coriander as a support for digestion and as a mild addition to medicinal infusions. As modern homes turned to bottled herbs and ready-made blends, the direct knowledge of growing, harvesting, and using the entire plant faded from view. Yet for centuries, coriander represented a kind of wisdom, one that linked the act of tending a garden to the rituals of cooking and care. If this kind of forgotten knowledge interests you, remember that the TerraVault guide is linked in the description. Inside, you will find 200 ancestral remedies, foods, and plant traditions from biblical, Egyptian, Ayurvedic, Chinese, and Appalachian traditions. Number 11. Cumin returns us to the heart of the ancient Egyptian savory kitchen. Rather than chasing rare or symbolic ingredients, families relied on the steady presence of this dry, aromatic seed to shape the flavor of daily meals. Cumin was measured out by the pinch, ground with care, and added to bread doughs, stews, and simple porridges. Its earthy note anchored the taste of the household. The seed's value lay in its ability to be stored for long stretches, ready to lend depth when fresh herbs faded. Over the centuries, as modern seasoning blends took over, the ritual of using whole cumin seeds with intention slowly vanished from most homes. Yet for generations, a jar of cumin on the shelf marked the difference between bland survival and a meal worth remembering. Number 12. Fennel lingers on the edge of the ancient Egyptian kitchen, a gentler fragrance among the bold seeds and resins of daily life. Its delicate, sweet aroma once drifted from bread ovens and simmering pots, offering a lighter touch where other spices brought heat or bitterness. Fennel seeds were kept in small jars, ready to flavor flatbreads, soups, or simple infusions meant to soothe and refresh. In a world where every household guarded its own blend of seeds, fennel broadened the pantry's reach, reminding us that not all ancient flavors were sharp or overpowering. Over the centuries, as supermarkets narrowed the range to a handful of familiar herbs, the subtle presence of fennel faded from most homes. Yet for generations, this aromatic seed was trusted to lighten meals, ease digestion, and bring a quiet sweetness to the rhythm of daily bread. Number 13. Dates return. Sweetness to the ancient Egyptian home in a form that outlasted the fleeting pleasures of honey or syrup. These fruits, plucked from the desert palms, were more than a treat. They were a staple, valued for their rich taste and remarkable durability. In the heat and dryness of Egypt, dates could be stored for months, traveling with families or workers as a portable source of energy. They found their way into daily meals, mixtures for bread, and household stores, lending a gentle sweetness that survived journeys and lean seasons. As centuries passed, the meaning of sweetness shifted, as refined sugar, candies, and pastries took the place of this humble fruit. Yet for generations, dates represented a quiet assurance, a food that could be kept, shared, and relied upon, even when other comforts faded from the table. Number 14. Pomegranate stands as a fruit of vivid presence in the ancient Egyptian household. Its deep red skin and clusters of jewel-like seeds brought color and ceremony to the family table, especially during seasonal gatherings and festive meals. The fruit was valued not only for its tart, refreshing juice, but for the act of opening it, each pomegranate revealing a multitude of seeds, a symbol of abundance and renewal. Ancient texts connect pomegranate with fertility and the cycles of nature, making it a centerpiece for both nourishment and meaning. Over time, as fruit became something to be sliced, bottled, or juiced in advance, the ritual of sharing a whole pomegranate faded from daily life. Yet in ancient Egypt, this fruit was more than food. It was a marker of celebration, a reminder of the land's richness, and a piece of living symbolism on the household table. Number 15. Flaxseed marks a quiet shift in the ancient Egyptian household, a single plant that bridged the needs of both pantry and loom. Families gathered flaxseed for its nourishing oil, pressed by hand and stored in clay jars, ready for use in daily cooking and as a base for preserving other foods. Yet flax was more than food. Its long, supple fibers were spun into linen thread, woven into cloth for clothing, bedding, and storage sacks. In this way, flaxseed supported both the body and the household's material needs, linking nourishment to the fabric of daily life. As industrial weaving and bottled oils took over, the art of growing, pressing, and spinning flax faded from most homes. But for centuries, this humble seed represented a self-reliant wisdom, where food and fabric grew side by side, and one plant could sustain the rhythms of life. Number 16. Barley stands as the quiet backbone of ancient Egyptian endurance. In kitchens along the Nile, this sturdy grain filled jars and baskets, forming the base of daily bread and thick porridge. Barley's resilience in the fields made it a reliable harvest, even when other crops failed. Families relied on it not for flavor or ceremony, but for the steady nourishment it provided through lean seasons and hard labor. Each loaf or bowl of barley porridge represented a kind of household security, food that could be stored, shared, and trusted to last. As modern homes narrowed their grain choices to refined flours and packaged bread, the memory of barley's central place faded. Yet for centuries, it was the simple grain that anchored survival, quietly supporting the rhythms of family life. Number 17. Lentils complete the picture of ancient Egyptian pantry staples, a humble legume with quiet staying power. In kitchens along the Nile, lentils were stored dry in clay jars, ready to be simmered into soups or stews that could stretch to feed a family through lean times. Their small, sturdy seeds offered a reliable source of nourishment, valued for both their affordability and their ability to last through the seasons without spoiling. Ancient households turned to lentils not for luxury, but for the comfort of a meal that could be counted on when other foods ran low. As convenience foods and imported snacks filled modern shelves, the old wisdom of keeping lentils on hand faded into memory. Yet for thousands of years, this simple legume quietly supported the rhythms of ordinary life, anchoring meals with resilience and thrift. Number 18. Olive oil slips quietly into the ancient Egyptian household as a material that bridged the kitchen, the lamp, and the gentle work of daily care. Pressed from olives grown along the Mediterranean fringe, this oil was stored in clay jars, ready to be poured into food, rubbed on skin, or burned for light. Ancient families valued olive oil for more than cooking. It softened bread, preserved herbs, and soothed dry hands after a day's labor. In the evenings, a small dish of oil and a floating wick could light a home, its glow gentle and lasting. Over centuries, as industrial fats and blended oils replaced the old jars, the memory of olive oil as a household mainstay faded. Yet for generations, it stood as a symbol of practical abundance, with one simple oil serving food, care, and comfort in the rhythm of daily life. Number 19. Papyrus stands apart from the edible and aromatic treasures of the ancient Egyptian household. This unassuming reed, harvested from the banks of the Nile, became the very foundation for recording family recipes, daily lists, household accounts, and the wisdom that shaped generations. Papyrus sheets carried more than royal decrees. They preserved the memory of what was cooked, brewed, stored, and handed down in ordinary homes. In a time before paper and screens, the act of writing on plant fiber anchored knowledge in the tangible world, binding memory to the rhythms of the land. As modern life moved to digital files and throwaway paper, the presence of papyrus and the mindset it encouraged quietly vanished. Yet for centuries, this plant held the stories and secrets that made survival possible, reminding us that sometimes the most important household remedy is the one that preserves memory itself. Number 20. Blue lotus closes the list as the most emblematic and least everyday of Egypt's ancient materials. This striking water flower, with its petals opening and closing with the sun, became a symbol of rebirth and divine creation in temple art and funerary texts. While honey and grains filled pantries, the blue lotus lived mainly in the realm of ritual and imagination, woven into crowns, painted on tomb walls, and offered at altars as a sign of renewal. Archaeological residues confirm its presence in ceremonial vessels, sometimes blended with honey or wine, but its use in daily life faded long ago. Today, blue lotus survives more as image than ingredient, a reminder that some plants outlast their practical roles by becoming legend. In the end, it marks the boundary between household wisdom and cultural memory, a final note of beauty and mystery among Egypt's forgotten remedies. Across all 20 ancient Egyptian household remedies, one quiet pattern emerges. Daily survival was woven from plants, resins, seeds, and simple foods, knowledge gathered from river, field, and hearth. This wisdom endures not as medicine, but as a reminder that true self-reliance begins in the home. The ancient Egyptians left behind more than pyramids. If you want to continue exploring this forgotten world, the TerraVault guide is linked in the description, with 200 ancestral remedies, foods, and plant traditions gathered into one practical reference, for educational and historical purposes only. Always consult a qualified professional before using herbs, oils, extracts, or supplements for wellness purposes.